All right. So, do you understand the word gooner? Do you know what gooner means?
I thought it was when someone excessively masturbates.
I guess those people would be the type to do that. But I guess gooning, I didn't really understand what it meant before. I think gooning is when you're just like, say for example, you've got Tifa from Final Fantasy on screen, and she's dressed, she's in her vest or maybe sandals, and there's a bunch of guys just zooming in on her feet or zooming in on her chest. You would say they're gooning. I think that's how they would use it.
So like edging.
No, because I think edging is when you're doing the business but you're not finishing.
Okay, so
I
this
think
isn't even
gooning is
doing
when
the
you're
business.
you're just salivating over said individual. Form of masturbation that involves edging. Oh wow, you were right.
It just sounded like edging, dude.
Oh damn.
For a long period of time, resulting in a hypnotic trance-like state.
Okay, so you were right about gooning. Why do they use it for everything then? What is gooning TikTok slang? The word gooning originated from cybercultures, but its full meaning developed in the adult industry. It is a condition in which a person experiences prolonged arousal and often involves self-pleasure, which is often described as edging. Moreover, the slang gooning also describes as a person who is addicted to corn. Right. Okay, well, the thing is, people use the word gooner so much, I didn't even know that's what its original meaning was.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Anyway, people online these days getting called gooner for everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So I enjoy a curvy woman in a game. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think you don't have a problem with that, right? There's all shapes and sizes are welcome. And I think, like, obviously, if you had a game like The Last of Us and they randomly had Ellie or Abby in a bikini, then it would be a bit like, doesn't seem like the game for it. Why are we gooning to Abby? You know. But in
Hey man, all shapes and sizes.
yeah, to each their own. But I would look sideways and be like, is this the game for it? Oh, I saw a mod where they modded Silent Hill, and the woman was just in her underwear. She had a fat bum, and I was like, don't think this is the game for it.
Mary. 死んだ妻だ。本当に似ている。顔も声もそっくりだ。
私はね、マリアよ。幽霊に見える？どう？ほら。ね。
おっと、混乱してて。
But if that mod existed in like Devil May Cry,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, Devil May Cry is fantasy bullshit. It's over the top. Anyway, there's
Devil May Care.
Devil May Care. Devil May Come.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of Melanie Mac, I'll be honest with you. She posts a lot of stupid videos in my opinion. She's been in the gaming space for some time. She's been seen with Jeff Keighley before. She has her own YouTube channel where she goes over loads of different things in the game, and she's been seen as kind of like a hypocrite because she's taken a hard stance against gooning in games. So I'll read out to you her tweet. But I just want everyone to know, because I did defend her at one point on Twitter because people were saying, "Oh, this bitch should die" or whatever, and I was like, all right, relax. Obviously, when you tell people on Twitter, okay, relax, guys. Like, are you gooning for mentally? I was like, wait, I didn't say that. I just said maybe she should die. Gamer coomers. Now, I don't know what a coomer is. Do you know what that is?
Such a boomer, I guess. Gooner, coomer, boomer. Okay. It's gonna put me in a coomer.
Coomjitsu.
Put me in a tumor. Give me a tumor. It was right there. Fuck.
Coomer is an internet meme that satirizes people who are addicted to pornography. It is often used by people who oppose pornography, but can also be used in a self-deprecating way. Okay, so it's basically like goomer. Is it goomer or gooner? Doesn't matter. It's too many words. So she said gamer coomers are the same as gamer alphabet people. So I think she's talking about LGBT. Most of them aren't actually gamers. They just want video games as a medium to incorporate their perversion. Actual gamers just want good video games with gameplay and art without being infested with perversion, regardless of where that comes from. And almost all these coomers have the same profile types as the gamers. Gamers. Just a bunch of corner on their profiles, on their pages, 2D, 3D, whatever else. That's their whole personality, perversion. and some content creators pander to that audience and are too scared to oppose them. Same song and dance as the trans LGBT demanding total submission. Once those of us speaking out now take enough heat, then others will speak up after it's deemed safe to do so. I don't care which side cancels me. I stand with Christ alone. Now, she's been seen as a bit of a hypocrite because she also put this up. And it says, almost every female gamer I know, including myself, not only like, but in many cases prefer playing as sexy female characters. It's part of the power fantasy. If game journalists and some devs could stop being offended on our behalf, that would be great. Which I found interesting. I was like, people can change their position. And maybe she's leaning more into her Christianity. But what do you think about that, just to begin with her statements?
I feel like I have to really take that in. I don't want to say, obviously, that, like, make blanket statements and say that there aren't game devs that maybe do have this particular perversion and, you know, are using this as a medium. Fuck it. Why not? You know, at the end of the day, it's in every other industry.
Yeah.
Only doctors become doctors just to get close to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, it can happen. But really and truly, I feel like, is that really what's happening? Or is it maybe that more and more people are playing games? And when I know that you've been recently having that conversation of maybe female gamers being treated a certain way. And if that's true, maybe there's a whole other like counterculture that's growing where it's like, well, we want to play games where we're just chilled.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And those games are now becoming a little bit more popular and thus creating this kind of new niche that needs to be filled. And so I feel like she's kind of mixing the two and coming with like 2 and 2 and getting 5.
So just for reference, this is her. People were ripping into her for this picture, but she was showing her weight loss.
Yeah.
I think people are like kind of losing the plot. I think some of her talking points are dumb, but the way people are attacking her seems like they're also just out for an attack. Like, this is just a gym picture.
I'm just a bit confused. Like, people are not 2D, they are 3D. Like, she's, you know, she can have weird or whatever opinions that she has and also be into fitness or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't see the...
Look at that. Oh, look, a talking whore.
But
It's just
to
a
be
bit
fair,
like-
that's just, again, that's just, I'm not being funny, that's just internet.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's Twitter. It's just
yeah, it is whatever.
it's a cesspool. I had a bit of controversy on my channel recently because when a writer tells me something and they're like, oh, this character's 14 or 15, I take them at their word and I'm like, okay. And then I'll say, well, why have you drawn it like that? Some people, I understand where some people are coming from because they were like, it's just a drawing, Mike. If they've drawn her as a woman and they wake up in the morning and they say she's 36, suddenly is it okay? And I was like, I hear that because it's fake and it's not real. It's just for me. Maybe I didn't word it in the best way. I think when I hear 14, my mind's all immediately like, why is she drawn like that? I don't know how you feel about that. I just sort of switch off.
Do you know what? I think you're right in that sense of like, yeah, maybe that is the right question to ask. But at the same time, the reality is that so many people, or women rather, develop at younger ages, you know? And so maybe it's a fair depiction that, because they're not all drawn like that. Usually when it's like one character, you know, that tends to be more developed than everyone else.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that is kind of true. There is always that one kid that is like more developed, whether it's the guy that looks like a fucking grown man, or, you know, or the woman or the girl that looks like a grown woman. So I think that in a way it's a true depiction, but I guess it's also how they sexualize them longer term in the medium.
Yeah.
So if the story, for example, in the game was centered around sexualizing that character, then it would be a problem.
Yeah.
But if the innate issue is that the audience perceiving that is sexualizing it, then it's a problem with the audience. Do you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Well, she originally put out that tweet because of a game called The First Descendant. So I'm going to show you some images from The First Descendant. Now, I believe it's a Korean game, and obviously like Eastern games, they have like a lot of like over the top designs for characters.
I
Or
need to get fucking locked in. Just give me like a second. I need to get locked in. Yeah, I just took too much information. I was like, wait, let me just reread that whole tweet again. Okay, no, I'm fine.
So the game's First Descendant. It's a Korean game. I like the designs in it. I think they look cool. The women are super sexy and the guys all jacked.
Yeah.
So I'll show you some of the designs.
Just pants game, quite cool. If I could whistle, you know.
So that's one of them. This is another one. Obviously, she's got a nice plump bum. Some people took exception to it. I don't see the issue. I think there's a space for characters like this.
Yeah.
There's also this is a new character that's just come out in the game.
Mhm.
It's obviously appealing.
I can't lie, like, damn.
Yeah, like for real.
I know.
This is Ninja Gaiden now. This is Rachel in Ninja Gaiden. So I don't have a problem with this because Ninja Gaiden is a game that is about demons and it's over the top and people are just being murked all over the place. It's one of those games where you expect this. So I don't think calling people gooners.
They go, it's not realistic for her to be like fighting around in this, right? But then they're like, what is she fighting?
She's fighting demons.
Just, you know what I mean? It's just like, what level of realism are you applying here?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so I don't think it's fair to call people gooners over this. I mean, look, she's obviously, when you see characters like this, you do turn your head.
actually, to be honest, I think for a split second, I was gooning.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. Did you see how people reacted when they first showed off Juri in Street Fighter 6?
No, I didn't.
She lifted her foot in the air and I was
Oh,
like,
no, I did.
oh
I
my
did.
God. It's going to be a meltdown online. But yeah, so I don't think it's fair to call gamers gooners for something like this. I think it's a bit silly.
I mean, they're designed to elicit a reaction, and that is the reaction.
There's
like,
also
damn, she's hot.
Eve from Stellar Blade. Now, she's actually designed after a real woman.
Damn, she's hot.
And I actually think that the real woman, this is the character in the game.
Yeah.
I actually think the real woman is even prettier than the characters. I'll show you what she looks like.
You've set the bar pretty high. That model's amazing, though.
Yeah, the model is really cool. Like, obviously, people will zoom into the bum and
Yeah, man. They'll do the
they're just
thing.
having fun with it.
Exactly.
I don't see the big deal.
And to be honest, if I had spent, my time carving this character and creating it, this, like, seeing these little videos, I'll be like, yeah,
Yeah,
I fucking did that.
Those are my jiggle physics.
I did that shit.
This is the actual woman that she's designed after. She's a very, very pretty woman. She's a model in Korea, I think. Now, I don't think there's any issue with certain games having these, I wouldn't even say they're ridiculous because you just saw she's an actual
She's a
person.
human being,
And I would say she's even better looking than the character. I don't think there's any problem with these games having
she's
these.
real. You know?
She's real,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, a lot of these games that come out now, they use actual actors, but they go out of their way to make the characters worse looking than the actors. Have you ever seen the Star Wars actress? So this is the actress for this character, but look at that. This is the actual woman. She's gorgeous, and then this is the character. I'm like, why did you make those changes? And it's meant to look like her. It's meant to look like her, and it was just like, oh, you know, we don't want to make the character look unrealistic. I was like,
Huh?
the model is right there. Like,
She's a real person. I don't understand.
but when it's the dudes, it's a 1-for-1. It's a 1-for-1. When it's guys,
What's going on?
I honestly think, I don't want to make this sound like I don't want to make it sound like a Gooner talking point, but I do feel like Western games have like something against women. It's very bizarre, and a lot of have you seen how popular Marvel Rivals is?
Yeah.
People love that game. It's obviously developed by Chinese people, and you can tell that didn't come from the West. You can tell that those are Eastern developers. Because you look at the character models in that game, and all the women are super curvy, all the guys are super jacked. But what I don't understand about this whole gooning thing is, you've watched Jujutsu Kaisen, right? The Jujutsu Kaisen female fandom, I think, is worse than the male.
Yeah.
They goon over Gojo like
so hard, dude.
It's mad. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And yet nobody says anything because I don't think you need to say anything. I think it's fine. Like if they
Just having a bit of fun with him, man. It's
having
just
a bit of
random.
fun. It's just
whatever.
he's a like I don't know what you would describe Gojo as, but I guess for the female gaze, he's what women would look to and be like, yeah, I want that. With the way that they act about him.
Yeah, I guess if he could be real.
If he could be real, you'd go for a Gojo. So I don't understand what the issue is.
Gojo.
All these people are saying that it's demonic, what's going on in video games with the depiction of the women, and it's pushing people to pornography. And I'm like, no, mate. I've been playing games. Yeah, demonic. I had if you want to talk about demons, I had a conversation about somebody about Tekken, and he said to me, you won't play it because they're promoting Satanism. I said to him, excuse me? And he said, who's the main character? I was like, Jin. And he was like, what is he? A devil? And they were trying to say that devils are good. I was like, bro, you need to relax. You need to relax. He was like, I don't watch anime either. I was like, why? He was like, Naruto. I was like, what about him? What's he got inside him? I said, pause. What do you mean? He said, what's he got inside him? I said, he goes, the demon fox. I was like, bro, it's just it's meant to show the hero battling against the bad
Yeah.
and overcoming it. It's not meant to like put the devil on a pedestal. That was the whole point in Tekken as
I
well.
was gonna say, literally in Naruto, like he basically uses the power of the Kyuubi for ultimate good.
He turns him to the good side.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
I think that like because obviously there seems to be an infighting now between a lot of creators that are on that I guess were on the anti-censorship side of it, and now they're fighting with each other. And whilst I don't think that like I'm not gonna be one of these guys out here calling Melanie Mack a bitch and a whore and that she should perish and all this stuff. I think that's all crazy. I do think her talking points are dumb. I think there's a space for these games to exist.
Agreed.
I think action games have always thrived in that space. Like Devil May Cry, it had Trish and Lady. Stellar Blade has got Eve.
Do you know what? Yeah, this is a clear indication that there is indeed enough room for all of these games.
Yeah.
They need to stop trying to push the like indie aesthetic and kind of like niche viewpoints into mainstream games and go back to how it was, because the predominant viewpoint has kind of just stayed the same. People are still craving the same stories we always have been, and the indie developers can fill the niches.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it should be right now. I think it's just being inundated with, I guess, coomers, but in a way, people with their own personal agendas because they're pandering to an audience that isn't big enough.
Yeah. I also think that it's a dumb argument to say that it pushes you into corn, because that was the same argument they used against violence. Remember when Mortal Kombat?
I'm having such a hard time. Like,
it's a really dumb argument.
Yeah, like I can't.
It's so stupid, like, because for a long time they said, oh, if you play violent video games, you're more likely to be violent, and we all know that's bullshit.
It's an outlet for so many people. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But I'm in my mind, I'm like, it seems dumb because it seems like the same thing. But do you think that there is a correlation between guys going and watching pornography when they play games like this? Do you think some guys could end up like that? But then I guess you could say it for violence as well. Doesn't really. I don't think it sticks.
I don't know. Like, okay, let's go back to a time where, you know, maybe this stuff wasn't as prominent because they didn't have graphics the way that we do now. People were bashing off to Good Housekeeping. Like, that's like the running joke in a lot of those old, like, you know, uni movies.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like, they always found a way. There was always sexualization.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, they will. It's just the time that we're in. We have so many different mediums to perverse. Yeah. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's always going to be perverts, right?
Yeah,
There's always going to be people that take it too far.
Yeah,
you know, maybe
they take it too far, but I think there's, like, just the standard, like, first glance, oh, that's attractive, but not necessarily enough to make me choose to play that game just because of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a byproduct. I'm playing this game and it just happens to be that all these characters happen to be attractive as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm enjoying the game more because of what it brings, more than just the characters are attractive.
But I do think the attractiveness of the characters plays a role in it, because if you look at Batman and Superman, for example, they're like peak male physicality, right?
Yeah.
Like they're the peak of masculinity. When I look at them, I'm like, yeah, those are two dudes I want to play as. Like Batman's super cool, Superman's super cool. So when I see like Supergirl, I'm like, that's like peak femininity. I don't know if you want to put it that way. Like the way she's built it just mirrors these two. So I don't know why these two are acceptable, even when like they have them all their battle scars and their shirts ripped off. Then no one bats an eye.
Yeah.
When Superman fought Darkseid and he was basically in just his underwear, no one said anything. But if you take this and put it on Twitter, people are like, oh, you gooner. I'm just like, but she looks cool.
Yeah.
She looks like a superhero.
I guess people are innately offended, I would say, by like a sexy female form, or one that is typically attractive. So when you say peak physical form, you know, I think that you could say that it is subjective. People have different ideas of what peak is, but at the same time, you can say that on average, people get an idea in their mind and it's closer to that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that it's easy to fantasize, and that's okay. That's just a fantasy. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And I think people now too into the conversation of sexualizing women is wrong. But at the same time, it's just like some women choose to be sexualized, and that's okay too.
Yeah,
So
you know,
it's
the
just
funny thing is
difficult.
that when you go to Comic Con, you don't see the Supergirls or the Power Girls dressed up full bodied.
Yeah,
You see them dressed like that.
exactly.
Everybody chooses these ones. When
Because
I,
they want, it's the thing is, it's like there are some people that feel offended by femininity, and I guess some people that are feeling empowered by that.
yeah.
And it's not fair for there to just be this blanket statement of being like, oh, it's perverse. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I just think that it's both ends of the spectrum are too extreme.
Yeah, I think that there's a space for all of these
Yes,
games, and
dude,
I don't.
same.
I think that you just respond to the market. I think if the market is saying, "Hey, we don't want these big titty girls anymore. We don't want them in their bra
Yeah.
knickers," and people are not buying the games, then you're gonna have to listen to the crowd.
Exactly.
The fact of the matter is, though, no matter what Melanie Max says, people are buying these games. They're the most successful games. Ninja Gaiden's come back again for what, the third time. Everybody's on it.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing Ninja Gaiden, even though that game came out how many years ago, and people are immediately hyped for the next one.
Yeah.
So if people didn't want to buy them, if the game industry was like not infested by gooners and it was just a couple of loud people on Twitter, then people would respond. But people respond to games like Concord and they're like, hey, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly.
As a dude, like I don't like playing female characters. I like playing male characters. I like having.
I like playing female characters.
Yeah, exactly. And you probably have a type of female character. Like if you.
I always play
typically-
the hot ones.
Yeah, like most people. Like when people
Because
saw.
to be fair, they're usually the only options.
Yeah, but most people go for them, right?
Yeah, exactly, but
Most
you would,
people go
like-
for them.
I don't know.
When I saw
There's something for everyone, I guess.
even if you look at wrestling, right, and you look at the dudes in wrestling, like you look at Drew McIntyre, you're like, holy shit, dude, this guy's built like a
brick
god.
shit house, literally.
And you look at some of the most successful ones on there, like Roman Reigns as well, like chiseled out of stone and shit. And people gravitate towards those guys because like, wow, these are like their peak. These are the peak. I want to strive to be like this. And yet you get so many people that are offended by it. There's nothing wrong with creating a character and having a bit of fun.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's being offended by something that, like, someone else has worked really hard to do.
Yeah.
Whether it be creating a character that just happens to be attractive. Do you know what I mean? They're just it's somebody's fantasy. Like, leave them alone.
Don't get me wrong though. There are guys that sometimes they'll take it too far and they'll sniff an elbow or they'll zoom into a bum. They do those things. And I think those things are weird, but I think they have the right to do that if they want,
I do as well. I'm sorry, if you're in the comfort of your own home, like, I just don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, if you wanna record yourself zooming on elbows,
You do your thing, man.
do your thing, man.
Like-
Whatever makes you happy.
There's a space for you too, man.
Yeah.
Just keep that shit locked
Just
up. No, I'm joking.
don't do it in real life. Don't zoom in on bums in real
Yeah,
life.
don't do that shit. Yeah.
But if you want to zoom in on Eve's bum, if you want to zoom
Yeah,
in
on characters and stuff, you do your thing, dude.
Yeah.
That's the space for you, man.
yeah, you want to zoom in on Katana's elbow, you zoom in on that elbow.
You know, you do that.
You go nuts on that elbow, man. Apparently. Apparently.
God, damn.
The whole Gooner situation is dumb. I wanted to see if you had a different take, but you've got the same take as everyone else. Because everyone else is like, this whole situation is so stupid.
Yeah, this is dumb. I'm sorry. Like, we're not gooners just because we enjoy peak physical form or whatever you want to say. Or, we have our own take on that and it happens to mirror what some devs also believe, or creators.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. I also think that I do think the discourse online has gotten a bit muddied though. Like I've said, I don't really like Melanie Mack's content very much. I don't dislike her, but I think I'll be honest with you, I think she's a little bit lame.
I don't know enough about her to have an opinion, to be honest, but from what I saw, it was just kind of brain rotty. Like, just that one clip of her actually speaking.
This isn't the video, and I also can't listen to her voice for too long. She's so fucking annoying.
It's got to be put on there.
It probably is. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I can't put it on YouTube. She's literally just saying the F slur every single second. She's like, get them out of our games. F slur. Get them out of here. F slur. I was just like, fuck, what's wrong? Is this getting people off or something? Apparently it was. I went into the comment section. People going crazy for her.
You're going to have a lot of, like, I'm assuming extremely, like, really loving that, But,
Yeah. I don't wish the worst on her. I think she's a bit lame. And I think her talking points are lame.
Least, I think.
It seems contradictory, but at the same time, maybe she's just lent so far into her Christianity that she's moved away from that position because her favorite character was the original Lara Croft,
Yeah.
and I was a bit like, the original Lara Croft, really? That's interesting. Because Lara Croft is I mean, they redesigned her for a reason. I disagree with the redesign.
So do I, though. I don't know. Like, it's not like she was in a bra and knickers.
Yeah, apparently people
She
gooning
was just
too hard.
in a goddamn vest and shorts.
Yeah, I thought the original was cool.
Only problem was just having too juicy an ass and too juicy a breast.
Yeah, 2 triangle tits that really got people off back in the day. So, do you remember the one that we used to have in our local area? She was always outside that shop. That giant statue. I walked past every day and I was like...
Gamers Stop.
Yeah, GameStop, yeah. But yeah, that's really the Gooner situation. In closing, it's dumb. You know, there's games that I think it's perfectly fine to have Rachel's and Steve's. Not Steve, sorry, Eve. I'm gonna get cancelled for that. And then there's Last of Us games, right? Where you're like, oh, we don't really need it here. That's it.
What about Abby, huh?
Oh, fuck Abby. Can you imagine Abby battering Joel while she's in a bra and panties? That it would just be such a weird thing to behold. Yeah, there's just games where it doesn't need to be. Then there's games where I think it's perfectly fine, and I encourage it. I think it's good. Little.
I encourage it.
There's nothing wrong with sitting in your room and you're like, oh damn, you know that
having a little goon.
Yeah, that little pixel, man. She's worth a goon. Whatever, man. It's not. I mean, if you don't talk to women, if you don't chat to women, and you're gooning constantly, you might have a problem.
Yeah.
You might have a
just
problem.
for your own health, man. Like, honestly, just get outside a little, man.
Yeah.
Maybe goon 3 times a week instead.
Oh, okay. You're gonna say goon outside. Don't goon outside.
Keep that shit inside.
Keep that shit indoors. But
never admit.
Yeah, as long as you're not indoors and you're not like just doing that all day, because I can see how that might start to warp your mind. But even then, even if you're indoors all day and playing violent video games, it doesn't mean you're going to go outside and hurt people.
No, of course not.
I think people just need to go outside more and get off Twitter.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway.